Hey everyone, I thought I'd make this video because I think we need to talk about a few things, and for about 90% of the people that are going to watch this and listen carefully to what I'm about to say, it should be just kind of a confirmation or an affirmation of what you already know. Now for others, it might help drag them back to reality, that's what I'm hoping, and for a few it's just not going to help them. All right, but let me say this chat might get a little bit rough on some people, and not everybody's going to like it, but here it goes anyway. All right, now, as you all know, by now, I guess, the Senate has passed Bill C-21. It's received royal assent. It is now the law in Canada. And if you paid attention to the CCFR, so you've watched our TV show on �WOW TV, or you've watched the podcast on Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, X, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, you know that we've said this whole time that Bill C-21 was going to pass. We've said that the whole time. And the reason for that is because the Liberals have the votes with the NDP and the Bloc. And the Liberals have also stacked the Senate over the last few years, so not a lot of resistance there. So all that to say, in the system that we are all in, so there's a little point to observe there, in this system, there was no way to stop Bill C-21 from becoming law other than if the Liberals prorogued Parliament, which they didn't, if there was an election called, which there wasn't, if there was significant pressure put on MPs, or if gun control was so politically unpopular that the Liberals voluntarily withdrew the legislation themselves. You know, maybe a court decides that it's unconstitutional, although we know how that works. We're a little more familiar with that now, aren't we? But that's still ongoing. We're not done there yet. But this is the reality of where we are. That's it. Okay, so no matter how frustrated we all are, no matter how wrong and unjust all of this is, and I assure you, it's morally criminal in my opinion. This is how it works. And let me add this too. This is really important. Everything I've said so far is predicated on the idea that you want to change the system. You want to work within the system of infrastructure and law and order that we have in Canada right now. If you want to work outside that system, for example, non-compliance, mass non-compliance, or burying your guns, or I guess at its most extreme, actual kinetic resistance to the government and the people who carry out its orders, that's a completely different conversation. Those are your personal decisions, okay? But these things are not what the CCFR exists for. The purpose of the CCFR is to create change within the system. Right now, the overwhelming majority of licensed firearm owners are not interested in collapsing law and order in Canada. At least that's my read on it. I've been wrong before, but that's been my experience. So I just want to make crystal clear for anybody who is not sure what it is we actually do at the CCFR. Now, if we want to make gun control less popular as an election issue, for example, or use the law to stop it, or bring in a more friendly government to use this same system to work for the preservation of Canadians' ability to legally own and use firearms, then we need to think about how that is actually done. How that gets done and how you feel about how you're being treated are two completely different things. That line, I think, gets blurred when people are angry or frustrated or generally incompetent or have competing motives, I suppose. The messaging that you put out to the world, if you want to achieve those things that I just talked about, is very different than the messaging that you put out to the world when you want to communicate to everybody just how angry you are. So if you want to obstruct and make miserable the lives of groups like the Liberals or the NDP or the Bloc or the Tiny Greens for their part of it, I guess, or the people that live to lie about and humiliate their fellow Canadians and take their property and all the rest of that stuff, if you want to obstruct that, then you need organizations and individuals that have enough discipline and competence to put the mission first, meaning put the mission ahead of themselves. Now think about that for a minute. Now consider this. If you want to do the exact opposite of that, this is important. If you want to make life easy for these people, then just let your frustration and anger do the talking. Okay, you just go ahead and play into every single stereotype that the government's been pushing about gun owners for the last 8 years. Just go all in on it. Just get online, start ranting and raving about a variety of different things, and provide them the just endless content so that they can look at that and say, see, I told you, this is who gun owners really are. When in reality, that's not who the overwhelming majority of gun owners are. In fact, if you're still interested in working within the system at all, that is exactly how you set yourself as far back as you possibly can. Okay, you know, I could just go right off the rails right now and break into a 30-minute discussion about what's been going on over the last week. But I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to make this chat overly tedious or longer than it needs to be, okay? But having thought about it for a little while, it's really interesting to me how we have people on the same side of the political spectrum at varying points on that spectrum, mind you, okay? But people that we agree with on a variety of issues. It's just interesting to me how some of these people want to play an enthusiastic role in destroying the individuals and organizations that are doing an undeniably obscene amount of work for the community and its shared goals. It's interesting to me how these people don't turn this anger and frustration that they have directly against the Liberals or the NDP or the Bloc or any of these people that are actually doing any of this stuff. They use all this anger and they turn it inwards into our community. You know, and another observation about these people, these voices, as it were, and this is another common feature, is how these people relentlessly try to call into question the allegiances or the loyalties of those who are doing all this actual work. You know, and I've gotten used to seeing that because I've been doing this for 8 years. Like, that kind of stuff is nothing new to me. But anyway, I guess to be absolutely fair, this kind of behavior tends to intensify when we're facing frustrations like we are right now. So anyway, it just seems it's always the people that completely disregard the reality of our situation, or as I said before, it's the people that do a lot of talking about working outside the system, you know, without doing much else but screeching on the internet and criticizing all the people that are still trying to work through all the frustration and all the abuse, trying to work in the system that we have, okay? It's just interesting to me who it is they tend to focus all of their energy on damaging. It's almost like they're doing the anti-gunners and the Liberals' jobs for them. And I really mean that. At least that's what it feels like. Anyway, to be completely fair, we aren't under any illusions here, I guess, at the CCFR. Yeah, we've had setbacks. We are losing right now, okay? Despite a few small wins here and there, hard-fought wins. But the reason for all that is because the only people that can end or oppose this government are the NDP or the Liberals themselves, okay? So the answer is to disengage or give up or do nothing. Honestly, I'm just not ready to do that yet, okay? Maybe someday, but I'm not ready. Alternatively, if you see the value in trying to preserve the law and order system in Canada, work within it, and by extension, the unprecedented volume of work that the CCFR has done, and I've said it before, I wish it was working better, but we're doing the best that we can within the system that we have. If you see value in that, you can support the CCFR because we won't stop fighting. We won't let our political adversaries demoralize us and make us give up. We're certainly not going to allow people from our own side of the political spectrum do that to us either. Okay, gun owners have always needed, and they still need, a group that is strong, has the resources big enough, and the competence, and the work ethic that we have here. And I'll tell you, we aren't giving up anytime soon, no matter who tries to hurt us, right? And the people that support us, whether or not these people are attacking us from the outside or the inside of our community. Anyway, this is where we are right now. The Conservative Party is going to sweep the next election. Everybody knows that, whenever that happens, okay? Barring any unforeseen disaster. And they've made commitments to increase public safety and stop the victimizing of licensed gun owners. And the CCFR will do everything within our power, everything we possibly can, to hold them to those promises, because not only are they a benefit to us, they're a benefit to the safety of all Canadians, right? As far as what we're doing, we're just going to keep fighting till the next election. That's just what it is. We're going to continue to do everything that we can to educate everyday Canadians, to take thousands of people shooting, as we have been, every year, thousands. We're going to keep making our adversaries' lives as miserable as we possibly can, make them fight for every step. We're going to do everything we can to force them as far away from government and re-election as any small group of Canadians can. And then, once that's all over, we'll start supporting the new government, okay, that comes after them. And at the risk of repeating myself endlessly, which I always feel like I'm doing, but what we aren't going to do is give up or do nothing, despite a handful of people in our community insisting that we do just that. Anyway, I know this was a little bit uncomfortable for some to listen to, but hopefully I've clarified a few things after we've all had a difficult week, okay? Sorry, one last thing, okay, and I'm gonna wrap it up. If you're not sure what the CCFR actually does, go to ccfr.ca, click on Why Join. I think it's up in the right-hand corner. Nobody needs to guess what we're doing with your support. You just need to go look at the running list that we keep on the website for that exact purpose. Okay, so just go check it out yourself. Anyway, all right, that's it. I hope you can all spend some time with your family and people that are important to you over the holidays. Maybe we'll chat about some of these things in more detail later. We'll pick it up after the new year. Okay, so Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is that you celebrate. Take care of each other, take care of yourself, and we will chat with you soon, okay? Thanks for listening.